Are you ready to get provoked? You're listening to Can I Live, a show created to excite, ignite, and expose. Let's tune in with your host, R.W. Jones. Welcome, welcome. It is 7 p.m. I want to make sure we are live and direct. Is it public, Monette? Can everybody see? 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yes, ma'am. It's on. It's a go.
All right, we'll go. Thank you, you guys. Welcome to the Can I Live podcast. I'm your host, R.W. Jones, and it is great to be here. I feel like it's been a while since we last did this, but it's only been last week. We got the wonderful Mr. Anthony James and Glenn Warren in the building. Ooh, that's the applause sound effects. You guys are getting live and direct, so you don't get all of the sound effects. Wonderful, wonderful. And we got the lovely Monette in the background. So before you do anything, ladies and gentlemen, just go to YouTube and what they do on YouTube, subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Notifications.
Like, turn on all of the notifications, all that good stuff. We have a really good treat for you guys. You guys know we're on a mission to move 1 million moms off the welfare system, and you cannot do that without addressing the needs of fathers. So you guys know right here to the whatever, my left, your right, you have the Get Your Hands Out My Pocket. It is a stage play, drama, animation, short film, waze what. I basically had during COVID, we were like, what are we going to do? And I thought there's no way we're going to wait a whole year. So let's just go and animate it. And I pulled some characters together, some great friends that I've known for years to see if they would just play this idea out with me. And today we have a meet the cast. We have the man of God. So the man of God character for you guys, he is a pastor of a church. And his wife wants to be first lady. So this is a story of ambition and how that system lends itself open to the whims of, and I don't know if that's the right word, whims, something like that. It just leaves itself open, leaves men open, vulnerable to the controlling ways of women who may have some vain ambitions, some very, powerful ambitions and dreams. And this is a guy that, he doesn't want to take over his father's church. His father passes away, and lo and behold, she's promoting that he is now first lady. She's first lady. But we knew that the topic was so heavy, so we had to bring in a comedian. And so I'm going to introduce to you guys Mr. Gene Harding. You guys may have seen him. He has opened up for Gary Owens. He has done his own stage comedy. I remember Gene. And Gene, you can show your face. I remember we knew Gene. We've known each other for like 20 something years. That was like, so welcome to the stage, Mr. Gene Harding. Ooh, get my little applause. You want to do it again?
No, this is perfect.
Okay. I could do it. You're right. I gotta practice. But Gene, we known each other for so long, for what, 20? Has it been 20? It's at least 20 years.
Easy
20 years, right?
Yeah, because as a matter of fact, 94, yes, 26 years.
Wow. Okay. 26 years.
26, 27 years.
And so we're going to talk about a couple of things, because A, you're a father. B, you are in the play. C, you know about the child support thing, but just overall, why you agreed to do the movie, number one. And, just as an entrepreneur, what made you step out there and kind of say, I'm going to do this? Because when we first met, you knew you wanted to be a comedian, but you just had not stepped out there yet. So we'll talk about that too later on. So all you guys who have dreams and aspirations of doing something so bold and so brave, this is the show that you really might want to tune into, because you might get some guts by the end of the show. And so I have a snippet from, let me find it. Where is it? Hold on. I have a snippet. Here we go.
This is case number 377 on the calendar in the matter of Marissa Stevens versus the man of God. Will both parties approach the bench?
My, oh my, this one looks amusing. I love the pastors that show up in my courtroom quoting scriptures. They are the worst of them all.
Sir, Honor, I'm sorry. I mean, Your Honorable Judge
Let me just stop you right there before you get started. Let me guess. You are a pastor of a major church, and your wife found out you got another woman pregnant.
I can't believe what I'm hearing right now. If those are not the most unprofessional, stereotypical, and outright racist remarks I have ever heard.
Man of God, let me remind you, you are in my courtroom. And how can I be racist? Haven't you noticed I'm a Black woman? I tell you, any excuse. You guys will simply use any excuse to evade your personal responsibility. You come into my courtroom and blame me and these poor mothers for what is ultimately your responsibility.
Your Honor, if I may, my client, Marissa Stevens.
And who might you be? My client? Whose client?
I have been retained by Ms. Stevens.
Retained? With whose money? Because Marissa don't work, so I don't see how she can afford an attorney. Hence is why I don't have an attorney. Your Honor, I actually thought this was some kind of joke. I really didn't take Marissa seriously. See, she's just trying to use the courts to pressure
Your
me
Honor,
into taking over the church.
My client is very serious and is asking the court for child support for all 3 children from the time they have been apart and moving forward.
How long have you two been living separately?
Separately? Your Honor, we still share a bank account, which I believe she is using to pay Mr. Matlock.
I really don't care how she pays for legal representation. The fact is, she has one and you don't. One more outburst and I'll hold you in contempt, just like the others.
Subjection, Your Honor. I would like to request a recess so I can confer with my attorney.
Subjection? Do you mean objection, man of God? Are you trying to represent yourself? I don't see an attorney present for you.
Overrulers, Your Honor, overrulers. This is mere speculation.
So let's give it, hold on, let me, that's why we need a real live production team on the team, because you're supposed to get the little hand clap applause after you get to the thing. And I'm sure, let's see, hold
I
on.
clap myself.
You could, shush, stop. There we go. Here we go, right here. That's just, now, hold on, let me turn the damn claps off. Okay, so here you are. We knew that we had to bring somebody funny in to just kind of make this really serious, like all jokes aside, of course you could be funny, but at the end of the day, it's some real serious stuff happening. And so, did any time when you were doing the play, did any of that stuff, whether it was your character or another character, did any of that resonate with you in your personal story?
Oh, no question. I thought y'all stole my diary.
Really? Well, what part?
Well, it was a combination of characters and scenarios that y'all wrote that I personally lived through. Like, went through a ugly divorce, and my ex, she chose the ratchet route, and
the ratchet route.
Yeah, she went and tried to get me out of the house, so she couldn't really, because at the time I was paying all the bills, and she went to call the cops and made up stories and tried to say I was abusing her and my daughter. And she called my neighbors. She called my neighbors to call the cops on me. Now, my neighbors know me. They know our situation. They know I ain't never put my hands on her or any woman ever. They know how I would do anything for my daughter. They knew, but I can't be mad at them. And I stopped being mad at them at the time because they just thought they was protecting her. So they called the cops. Cops came. They didn't see no real harm, but they had to go on the side of my ex, which was fine. I willingly packed my stuff to bounce. I was hoping y'all came to get me out of here. I've been trying to leave her, right? So that being said, we go to court now months later. I ain't get to see my daughter. She got a restraining order on me. She was pulling the stops out. So because she knew my daughter was all I cared about.
Mhm.
So we go to court, and my attorney, who'd been practicing law for like 40 years, takes her attorney to the side before we even go into the trial and said to her attorney and to my ex that I've been practicing law for 40 something years, and I don't say this because, you know, I just fight for the actual case and the facts. But I 100% know that my client never did any of this to you. I know that for a fact. You know that for a fact. So instead of going in there and wasting everybody's money and time, we could handle this right here. And before I wasn't there, so I was around the corner on the other side of the courthouse, waiting to be called in for this trial. And before we got in, they threw everything out.
Wow.
Because my ex knew she was lying. Her attorney knew she was lying because they concocted the story together. They knew they was lying.
Whoa.
So before we even walked in there, they had already dropped everything before we got to the judge. So now when we got to the judge, whatever the deposition was, we only had to talk about how we was going to split things. So, you know, I ended up leaving there. I won, but I didn't want anything. So I didn't really win in that regard. Like, I didn't get no monetary.
What do you
nothing.
think would have happened if you didn't have an attorney present?
Oh, I'd have been man of God in that courtroom. I'd have been standing up for myself. I'd have been just, you know, trying to argue my case, which I'm sure a lot of men of color or men without the financial resources have to do. As a matter of fact, the first attorney, before I found this one, the first attorney I went to, they had already, I told them my case, and they were like, all right, you just got to give me a retainer. I gave them my card to give them my retainer, and it got declined. So I'm like, all right, give me a few minutes. Let me just go downstairs and call. When I checked my bank account, all my money was gone.
Wow.
So my ex had already pre-planned my demise. So she had already took the money out my account, then called the cops when we had an argument. And so all of this was in part of her plan. And so my money was gone. But anyway, I found another attorney who was able that hooked me up. I don't know, they just showed me love. To this day, man, like they family to me.
Yeah. But yo, that's interesting. Now, I don't want women out there to think like, yo, what the hell is you doing? Is you for us or against us? Like, but that's crazy when you say ratchet route. Yo, and this is what I'm gonna tell you, because I know already both definitely Glenn. Anthony's like, see, that's the system, that's effed up. Glenn is already thinking, what you do? You did something to deserve all of that scorn from that woman.
Listen, I'm the most arbitrary person when it comes to this scenario. I don't ever just tell my side of the story. One, because she's not here to defend herself, and two, I don't care about the perception, perception, right? That people have of this whole thing. I just like being honest about the whole thing. The way this went down, I'm gonna try to give you the quickest version. I ain't have the balls to get out of the marriage. I ain't have the balls to get out of the scenario I was in. I shouldn't have gotten married to her in the first place. Maybe she knew that too, but for whatever reason, we got married, right? So instead of like just, you know, manning up and be like, yo, this ain't working or this ain't for me, I just started doing my ratchet route. I just started cheating on her. And so that's all I did. That was and then I started getting on stage. I get off stage and I was getting so much love from fans that I was running to that. Like I was taking my insecurities and I was just basking in this temporary love and affection I was getting from women. And I did that often. I'm talking about to the point where I would go out with women that I used to forget I was married. That's how detached I was emotionally.
Yeah.
But in the house, that's how detached she was, because it was going on for a long time. And she either knew and ain't care or just ain't loved me enough to care. So I don't know what the deal was, but it was going for a long time. Finally, when I got caught, it must have just either it got public or whatever it is to make her be like, all right, now I got to get him out of here. And then that's when all of this started happening.
All right. Because you guys were married when you were touring with Gary Owens. So do you think when you and her married before you took the leap to do comedy?
Yeah.
So I was thinking, like, do you think the whole comedy, the lights, the camera, the ass, all of that has something to do with the instant, you know what I'm saying? Like
it did, because when I was starting out, I didn't have no money. So I was leaning on her financially, right? So she was paying a lot of bills, and I know it was a burden on her. But I also know women in my life, exes, even friends, that I know would have, rode to the end for me, knowing what I was trying to do, knowing that, or trusting that I was going to get there eventually. Mm-hmm. She either didn't trust it, didn't believe it, or didn't want it. I don't know. I can't speak for her, but it might have been a burden too much for her.
Or when you finally made it, maybe that, oh, this is my wife, like that Claire Huxtable and Bill Cosby, like that B and J type flow, 1 and 1. She wasn't feeling that almost initially. And she was like, yo, she feeling some kind of slight, some kind of real deep down. Like, yo, I held this Negro down, and this is how she
didn't really hold me. I mean, she held me down. She paid the bills for up until when I was able to do it, right? But she wasn't a big fan of mine. You understand what I'm saying? Like, she wasn't a fan of mine, and I knew it. I sensed it. I'm dating a girl now that I'm talking about. Like, she laughs when I wake up. Like she, everything I do, you could feel it when somebody's riding for you. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And my ex she went to one comedy show, and never went back. Now, maybe I wasn't funny to her. Who knows, right? I can't speak for that, but I could just tell, like, she just wasn't a fan of mine. And then, so now when I look back into this whole relationship, she wasn't in love with me, right? Mm-hmm. She didn't want me. She didn't want Gene.
I'm surprised you took that leap. I was like, what? Gene getting married? What?
I just thought it was late in my life. I just was thinking that, man, she seemed like the most perfect person to take this plunge with. So I just did it. I knew better, low key, that I should walk away. Because even when we was walking to the altar, I remember her pops jokingly said, "You sure you want to do this?" And in my head, I'm like, "You have no idea. I will bounce right now. Somebody just give me a out." But I didn't. Yeah, because at that point you're in. I ain't, that thing work in Hollywood where you see, like, people about to get married, and then somebody like to decide, oh, I have cold feet, so they bounce. Mm-hmm. Like, I was having all those thoughts in my head, but I put too much money in this, man. I can't do this.
That's interesting. So let me ask you this question. And I don't know, Anthony and Glenn, if you guys have anything. I know this is your first time meeting Mr. Man of God. I know that, Glenn, you always used to say something about the pastors in the church and how they'll have these other children. I don't think this whole child support thing is, how do you say, it's not an issue that doesn't impact the church per se. And just because it's the church, you cannot expect that these kind of things do not happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Don't you have, you said that there was a story.
Yeah, I do have one of the stories. By the way, Gene, I'm glad to meet you, man. Sound like a straight up guy. There is a story that I have in a book. It's called Double Back. And I talk about pastors, ministers who married their wife and then they divorced and then moved to another city and they get married again in another church and they leave their family in New York and then move to North Carolina. They get married again. They got 2 kids and a wife. Something happened down the road. There's an affair, whatever. They leave that wife and they go to another. Now they move to Texas and they got, I've met some pastors who got 3 different sets of families, 2 different wives and 3 different sets of kids from each wives. And the story was, and this particular time was, God expects you to take care of all your kids. And one of the quotes that I have is, Father, you're responsible for all of your kids, those you live with and those you deny. Because you moved to New York, North Carolina, you left that one in New York to fend on herself. You're not paying child support. You're not really a part of the kid's life. You're with your new family in North Carolina. When that break up, you moved to Texas. So you got 3 to 4 families you leave. And the story was, we have to go back. The God expect us to take care of all of our kids. And I use the story with Saul. You know, remember the story when the prophet Samuel came to Jesse and say, I want to anoint one of your sons to be kings. And Jesse brings out all his sons, except for David. He forgets David. He brings out all the sons, and every time the prophet said, no, not this one, no, that one. And finally the prophet said, I know you got to have another son somewhere, because God told me to come here to the anointed king, but none of these God said anoint. Jesse finally remembers and said, oh yeah, by the way, I do have another son. He's out in the field. They go get David, they bring David into the house. As soon as he walks in the house, God said, this is the boy. And Samuel anoints David, and David's life changed that day. The point is, God wants us to get all of our kids. Don't just leave, don't just leave some of them. You got to bring all of them into the fold. There's a whole lot of little Davids and little Davids that we have left out in the field because we moved to North Carolina and started a new life, a new life. We left the kids in New York. We left the mom for whatever reason. But those kids now grow up without their dad. But dad is happily married now in New York, in North Carolina, until he get married for her. Then he moved to Texas. So the point is, we have to double back and get all of our kids. So we need some modern day prophets today to tell these fathers to go back and get all of your kids. Don't leave them out in the field.
But is that even something you got to really tell somebody? You got to tell somebody, go get your kids. Like,
apparently you do, because there's a whole lot of people that's not pastors that's not doing that.
Well, if you got to tell a man to go get their kids.
Well,
maybe
yes.
they're not they don't have they're not living a truth and an honor.
Which is the point. They're preaching the gospel. They're in the church, but they're not taking care of their kids either. And this is a subject that a lot of pastors don't want to talk about, because a lot of times they're the ones, because they do have access to a lot of women, and they do have affairs with a lot of women in the church. Their wife finds out, she leaves them, and maybe they leave that church and go, because they still got a gift to preach. They still got the power of influence. They use it in another city, get another wife, another set of kids, and so they get caught again because they still haven't dealt with their own personal integrity and character, and it just goes on and on and on and on. So we have to go back.
Man of God was actually another guy who was really like a man of God. He was like a real pastor. He actually was casted for the Harriet Tubman film, the newest one, the Underground Railroad. But he told me outright, he was like, I really can't do this because it's too much profanity. And so when he left, I was like, oh gosh. A lot of people, I've lost a few, probably 2 or 3 because of the profanity.
Yeah, see, you can't do this because of profanity, but at the same time, you're denying your kids. You're not in your kids' life that you left in New York. However,
I doubt that. I mean, they was like upright. You know what I'm saying? Levels to upright.
You are righteous over here, but over here you're looking like you're not living right either, because you are not taking care of your kids. You're not.
And I know all pastors are not that. I know all.
I'm not saying all pastors are that,
yeah.
But it's very prevalent in the church where the pastor is preaching one thing and living another, because he's not taking care of his kids.
Oh yeah, that's why we created it.
And it's possible for you to be a good dad over here and doing everything you're supposed to do, but the kids that you left in New York, you haven't sent them a dime. You don't even send them. You don't know what a birthday. You haven't seen them. So it's a good day. It's a good dad, bad dad. Case in point, I'll be real quick with this one. I'm in the court system, and I'm sitting there. And I'm watching this man, and the judge looks at this guy, and the caseworker said, "Your Honor, this guy pretty much is a deadbeat dad. He has not taken care of his kids, and in the last 18 months, he haven't sent a dime." And the guy got mad and he stood up. He said, I'm a good dad. I'm taking care of my kids. I'm with my son every day playing basketball. And you know what? He was absolutely right. But the child that he was on child support for us was a relationship that he had left 6 years ago. And that child he hadn't seen in 18 months, haven't sent any money. So he's a good father over here, but he's not a father over here. So that's possible. That's possible. You could be a good dad and do everything you're supposed to do with this child. But these two kids that you lived in New York, you don't do jack for.
Yeah, no, you can't be a father to one and a father to one, and you got some others.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I know, Anthony, you got your own fair share of stories about just pastoring.
Well, what's going on, Gene, man? Chaplain James, man. Nice to meet you, man. On your journey, man. Much success to you, my brother. Seem like you, how old are you, young man?
49.
Okay,
you ain't no 49.
You see these?
You about to be 50?
I'm about to be 50. I got the George Jefferson about to happen real quick.
You is a fool.
But yeah, just commending you, man. My thing right now, man, is me and Raquel, this is our baby right here. This is what this thing was birthed about. You know what I mean? All the trials and tribulations through being a good father, making mistakes. Even you could be a good father, still make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? What Glenn was saying as far as not handling your business, I wasn't that dude. I was from here, there, but my kids ate. I made sure they had food on the table. I made sure they had clothes on their back, but got done dirty by the system. And I'm saying this, I don't have any too much more jokes about this situation. Like, you're a comedian and all that, and that helps a whole lot. But me, I don't have no jokes about this child support situation because, man, when I say done dirty, I mean, I'm a man of God. You know what I'm saying? What does that mean?
In fact, the character man of God, well, really, Gene, what you probably don't know is this guy right here, Anthony. He was probably every one of these characters. There's a piece of him in every one of them, but the man of God was who he was. He was Mr. Right, never right. He was definitely at some point in time, probably ratchet and reckless, but I took a lot of the real stuff that happened in his life. And it was just so ridiculous. I was like, I have got to put this in writing, and wrote the book, Get Your Hands Out My Pocket, wrote scenarios. And even though Get Your Hands Out My Pocket was about my life as well, it was also, about this life that I knew. I was like, we're not the only two having this scenario. So go ahead, Anthony. I didn't mean to cut you up, but I just wanted to make sure he has some context. Because you guys have never met each other. And I think I've known Anthony probably just as long. But you guys have never met each other.
Nah. We do. But I'm just saying, I'm not disgruntled with this situation, but something needs to change. I mean, that's what we sitting here talking about this stuff. That's we trying to have dialogue. We trying to come together because everybody got a story. Everybody got some story, some fast or whatever with the court system, with the non-child support payer, deadbeat dad. I was just reading this post just now, you know what I mean? It says, should Father's Day be banned because it's disrespectful to single mothers and same-sex couples?
Wow.
That's what's going on now. You know what I mean? So Father's Day, I mean, right. That's what I said. So Father's Day, they trying to ban, you got some women wanting to ban Father's Day. They serious about this thing.
But came from my ex-wife is on that committee.
Right. But
how old is your daughter, Gene?
8.
Wow.
See what I'm saying? So this is a big issue. It's a big issue because they're saying fathers, just because you shot some sperm, you ejaculated in a woman, you're nothing. You're not even a man. You're not, what is that? Just because, you can come? So this thing has gotten so out of control right now to the point where that's why I'm saying this joke. I'm not the joker in this. I used to be, but it ain't funny to me no more. It used to be funny, you know what I'm saying, until the system just took me and wiped me, but the thing is, I thank God for me knowing God in my life, because without God, there's no way I would be sitting on here talking about any of this. And I know so many men when we first started this,
father, stuff, child support, men wouldn't even come forward. They was like, hell no. What the hell I want to talk about that crap for? And I was like, come on, man. And I thought it was going to be like easy, like, yo, man, okay, you've been through some things, but you over it. No, they're not over it. They're not over it. They're still not over it. And I had a black judge.
Was your judge black, Gene?
Huh?
Did you have a black judge at the time? Like, was everybody like, no?
No.
I had a black female judge.
Actually, Judge Wu, your judge, the one that gives the hell for everybody, is actually the judge that he really had in real life.
But yeah, that was some serious stuff. And I'm like I said, the system's a system. Like Glenn always says, and it's a true statement. Once it goes to the court, they gonna do what they do. If you won't come with no representation, they don't care if you ain't got no shoes on your feet. They don't want to hear none of that. They gonna say you hid your shoes in the car before you came in here.
But let me ask you this:
That's
the part that bothers me so much is the mere fact that your wife at the time literally blatantly lied on all fronts, was okay with it in the moment. Had you not had that attorney, she would have went all the way and there would have been nothing you could do about it. That's scary.
My point is right here is we want to blame the system for this. This is not the system problem. That's you and your wife's problem. But somehow we bring the system in and make them part of the problem.
It's still a problem. I don't care what it is. It's a problem.
But the problem was
when you lock somebody up, Glenn. When you lock somebody up, take their livelihood. Don't give them an opportunity to get right. That's a problem.
Don't forget about how you got there, though.
Yeah, but how you got there.
Gene is like, well, wait a minute.
It's not the system's fault you're there.
No.
It wasn't the system's fault that him and house is there.
It wasn't. Both sides. It's both sides.
I'm gonna need a damn gavel. Let me get my gavel. Hold the hell on.
We need a balance, though. We need to be a balance.
Gene, our conflict, me and Raquel, and it's
not order in the court. Order in the court.
Our viewpoint is
order in the court.
Okay, order in the court. Okay, can I have our viewpoint is they want to blame the system, and I'm saying false woman. It ain't the system.
Let me ask. I'm gonna ask.
The system have problems, but you got there not because of the system. You got there because you and your wife had some issues, and she lied.
So hold on.
But what's up with the rehabilitation? What's up with the change of? What's up with the okay? You did this, you was wrong. Can you fix it? Can you fix that situation? And then let's move forward, people.
Because the court system,
mediation. There's no mediation.
The court system is not in business to fix your problem.
So it needs to shut down then.
No, it don't.
It needs to shut down.
That's not what they're hired to do. That's not what they're hired to do.
It needs to shut down then.
Order in the court.
It needs to shut down. They one-sided.
I believe that. So let's take it to the guests here today.
We go back forward.
So in how much of this, because I need you to put on your hat that if you did not have the representation, to me, that was like your God card showing up for you. And you obviously very resourceful. You have connections, you have relationships, which a lot of men don't have. Another man in your situation, how much of that would have been your fault? Glenn is saying, nah, Gene got there. That was 100% Gene's fault. And hold on, because guess what? We're going to say it's Gene. Well, you didn't say it was Gene's fault more than you saying it was the adults in the situation fault because she lied.
So listen, let me jump in real quick. I get what Glenn is saying. The two parties involved, our interaction, our relationship, we brought ourselves here, right? So I get that. And it ain't the court's job to fix that. I get that. However, outside of me getting lucky that I found this attorney, this law firm that just took me under their wing and made sure that I shine. Outside of that, the way it's set up, she could have went full throttle with this abuse thing, saying that I'm doing all this stuff, and they could have believed her. There's dudes in jail now, I'm sure, that the court believed her version of the story. They didn't have the resources to fight it, to disprove it. You know what I'm saying? That 9 out of 10 times they're gonna go on the side of the female. I'm not saying that's necessarily wrong, but a lot of dudes are either physically or financially locked up because they didn't know how to fight it. They didn't know how to get around it. She went, like I said, the cops came to my house and they knew nothing physical was going on at all. I told them straight up, like, yo, officer, we had an argument. We both were saying nasty things, but I ain't never put my hands on her. I ain't never touched her, right? So, but they kindly asked me, I never got arrested. They never put no cuffs on me because they knew what it was. And there was a female cop involved too, right? Who knew it was nothing physical, but maybe she was siding on my ex. And so she was listening to her version of the story, never listened to mine, or was already formulating her opinion, but they still couldn't do nothing legally because I didn't do nothing. There was nothing that was going on, right? But if I didn't get lucky, or if I wasn't blessed to have this attorney that I found through the owner of a gym that I was going to, I don't know how I would have gotten out of it. I don't know how to went to court.
Wasn't you on the Gary Owen shows at that time, like the TV show?
No.
But did she know you were doing like stand-up or something with him?
Was who?
The attorney. Did she know anything about you personally, your career?
No, I didn't. I wasn't really on TV like that. She didn't know. I told her I was a comedian, but at the time, this was in 2014. That show ain't aired till 2016. We was already dissolved by then. Mm-hmm. So I was just on the come up. I'm still on the come up, to be honest. But I'm just doing way better than I was before. And I was like, I hadn't focused my energies into how to like pursue my dreams and still be fiscally responsible, right? So my attorney had more faith in me than probably I did. Because her and her husband,
woman?
It was a husband and wife team. Nice. They came to so many shows because they believed me. Like you know how you could just talk to somebody, you don't need all the facts. Your soul, like, I rocks with this person. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how we gauge who we trust.
Yeah.
I don't really care what you tell me. Yeah. How I feel about what you tell me is what I move on.
Yeah. I'm not saying by any means, I'm not saying the system is perfect. I believe that we have two issues. A systemic problem, which we do. I do not deny that we have a major issue, but we also have an individual issue. And we try to blame, we try to put everything on the system, which is not.
Hold on for 1 minute. I want to ask you something, Glenn. Hold on. I want to beg to differ that the systemic issue could be some root cause or anchor to the personal issues, because she felt it was too normal to just lie. I can lie because the black man, they're going to believe me over him any day.
Right.
Because guess what? If we really had real justice and equality, and each person was held accountable to their own, she would have had to think twice before that lie. But that thing was too comfortable for her to just lie like that and tell the neighbor to call the police, get them in the lie. And then the police show up and then go to court and tell the attorney and then still lie. So the systemic problem, I think, has whatever that thing is in the system that wants to evade personal responsibility and accountability, but will paint the black man to be a villain, a no good down, low down, dirty scoundrel. They played that. And so
I don't know what her motive was, because he was a black man. She was just trying to get even, whatever she was trying to do.
She was hurt, for real.
Yeah, she was hurt. So now one of the stories I write is called Unintended Consequences, in which a lady, the same kind of scenario, pretended like the husband beat her up. Her and her lawyer got together. This is a true story. True story. It's in the book, When Love Is Not Enough. It's a true story. So her and her lawyer got together and they concocted this big lie that they was going to go to court, or actually they was going to get the husband to hit the wife and then call the police, and the police come out and get a case, domestic violence case, he get kicked out of the house.
She filed for divorce.
That's what they did. But he didn't hit her. When he didn't hit her, she bruised herself. Still called the cop. The cop came, kicked him out of the house, and because he was an accountant making 6 figures, because he got domestic violence at a big firm, he lost his job. When he lost his job, 6 months later, she had to move out of the house because she can't afford the house. The kids got in trouble because now this kid used to live in the upscale neighborhood. Now they're living in the projects. It was called unintended consequences because of that same lie. And now the kids are in trouble. And they hate the mom and they hate the dad because, and the father, he wasn't innocent. He had an affair. She found out about it. And then she wanted him out of the house. He wouldn't leave the house. So her and her lawyer concocted this story to get him out of the house. But what they didn't anticipate it, that in this story, he was going to get charged and not only get kicked out of the house, but get kicked off the job. And so she ended up foreclosing on the house. And that was called unintended consequences.
Yeah, that's real unintended.
Yes.
Right. You know, let me say this, man. I'm not against right. I'm not against that for no means. I'm not, when you're grown, you know right what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to handle your business. But at the end of the day, we talking about nothing but pure hurt here. We talking about nothing but malice, heart. We talking about, all we talking about is money, transfers money against the table. You know what I mean? If I got enough money, I'm gonna burn them. If the person know you got this, all I'm saying is this. Glenn, let me ask you a question. You know, if I may ask you this question, what are you trying to get out of like this platform right here as far as bring to the table other than lock up, other than pay your child support because you got a child by somebody and it's not a court situation, it's a systemic situation as well. But what are you trying to see other than, because I ain't trying to go back and forth with right and wrong. What's the plan? Like what's the plan?
My plan is for men and women to take responsibility for what they do or don't do and stop blaming the system.
Right.
That's my plan.
Okay.
That's what it is.
That's
right. And that's cut and dry. Right. And I'm with that. I'm 100% with that. But then on the other hand, it's tough to fix the system. Come on, we have issues. We can't fix the system. We got to fix it.
But that's why he don't want to fix it. That's why he said he gonna focus his attention on the people.
I let y'all fix the system. I'm not trying to fix the system.
Right.
I'm trying to fix the people.
But the people that's going in, you're right. That's right. Right. If that happens, it'll be less of this.
Yeah.
But again, somebody has to pay the pipe. Somebody has to, when that person does get drug into court, you know what I'm saying, for handling his business. So you're saying basically he better have some representation behind. He better put some money away.
What I would love to do is for him and her settle it. You don't need no reputation. And I know this. I know that's unrealistic. A lot of times it's impractical. But until you fix that problem, because when you do get in the system is not perfect, and you're gonna get all this stuff. That's
right. So all I was saying is like mediation. That just like you're saying, there needs to be some of that too. There needs to be some of that balance. I mean, because what are you practicing law for? What are you practicing? What you practicing to detain people? Is that it? When they come in with whatever problem you coming in with? And that needs to change as well as the people. Mediation will help that out a great deal, but people ain't talking about no mediation. I don't really hear that a lot. I just hear one side. This side needs to get your stuff together. Y'all need to, whatever y'all got going on over here, you better not bring it to the court system, because the woman could be dead wrong, but she's in there like she's Cinderella with 2 glass slippers on. You know what I mean? And she could be the foulest person that's committing whatever, perjury, fraud, but she's not even being looked at. You know what I mean? So that's a big issue too. That's
probably rooted in the narrative that the black man has been painted to be. That's the destruction of the family.
right.
And yeah, it's deep and all this other stuff. I mean, that's why I invited both of you guys here on the podcast, because you guys had two totally different perspectives. And even though I'm totally on board with, like, guess what? The system don't thrive if we don't allow it to thrive. So let's change the mindset. Let's take us out of it and help us to come up better, so we don't involve the police. But hurt people. That's a real thing. So ain't no telling what will happen when a woman is scorned and the man she loved hurt her so deeply that she can't even articulate it. And
Right.
if she did try to articulate it, he might not even have the tools to respond adequately that would not force more trauma and pain. You know what I'm saying? So it's the tools. And because we don't have the right tools, the courts are a tool.
So let me
Go ahead, Gene.
let me jump in real quick. And so what made this scenario, or this the circumstances that we are in as people, as Black people, as couples, bring it to present day, COVID ain't help at all, right? Because I got allotted a certain time slot to get my daughter. COVID happened. And so now for 2020, I might have seen my daughter twice, right? And it was something I had to take because we was all nervous about our kids, being sick, right? So I took that on the chin, and I didn't see her. I didn't have COVID, but I was still out and about. So, so I got that, and I fell back. And now we pulling out of it, and now I want to get back to seeing my daughter. But I'm dealing with the fact that she picks up the phone whenever she wants. So I don't get my daughter on. We ain't back to our regular schedule. If she does pick up the phone, then I'm lucky. I might get her this month. I might see her next month. But there ain't no regularity because COVID done put a monkey wrench in a lot of the plans that we had, or the setup that we had before.
Are you still in the same state where you're?
Yeah, I ain't moved. I ain't left Florida because so I could be close to my daughter.
Okay, so you can file for joint custody.
I mean, the world has been turned upside down because of COVID.
For sure.
Not just North Carolina or Florida, the world.
No, for sure. That's what I meant.
So now things are trying to slowly get back to normal. So just now they'll start to put some things back in place to start seeing your daughter on a regular basis.
But if you remember, look what I just said. It's just as subtle as that. He explained a very real situation.
Right.
She could pick up the phone when she wanna. I don't feel like talking to this nigga today. I already know what he want. Fuck him.
Right.
And guess what?
But
What's the
just
first thing I told him to do? Go take her. I
Listen.
applied the system again.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, bro, and I'm gonna let you talk. That's what I did. Through all of that craziness, I still took my tail. And that's what most men don't do. They get caught up in themselves. You know what I mean? I went to court, filed, petition, joint custody, residential with mom, and visitation rights. There's nothing she can do as long as I have when she come to my house, it's respectful, ain't no drug infestation going on. You know what I mean? That shut everything down. Had I not done that,
We would have never.
nothing. I would have been sitting there mad as hell at the world, but I made that one step, went to the courthouse, and they cannot deny you that because you are the biological father. That's law.
Now stop right there, Anthony. Stop right there. If you hadn't done that, and now you have no relationship with your child, who would have been at fault? You or the system?
Nah, the father.
Exactly. My point.
Right.
So what was you gonna
got
say,
so
Gene?
many-
Hold on. Let me. Gene was.
No. They good. They're good. I want to hear this.
But no, because the father is the responsible one. You may help make the child. Your name, you're on that birth certificate. So therefore, you have rights. You have rights. I know men that's not on the birth certificate. They got to prove all of that. But once you go down to that courthouse, listen, that judge is going to say, listen, when you want to see the child, I had a woman that was getting ready to be held in contempt of court because she said, no, this Negro owes me child support money, back pay because of whatever happened. I got sick, whatever. The judge said, this is not child support court. This is family court. It's two different courts. So shut it down. And I was like, whoa, I didn't even know that. I was like, I can't. No, I mean, people say they can't see their kids because they owe child support money. Nah, the judge says this ain't child support. This is a family court situation. This man wants to have visitation rights with his daughter or son, you know what I mean? And joint custody. Once you get that joint custody, it all comes in one. It all comes in one. So
what you did was, as a father, you went down, you found out what you needed to do, and you did it. Now the system is working for you because you did it. A lot of fathers don't do that.
right.
They don't, and you know what? When they don't do that, now they get mad and say, the system won't let me see my kids.
Yeah.
Which
Right.
is not
So,
true.
and here's what I will say, Gene. Here's what I know for sure. At night, your daughter, she wants her dad. What happened to
Right.
her? She wants her father. She wants her father because she knows what daddy was like. And unfortunately, some moms, I think Glenda said it before, get so caught up in themselves and that pain, they don't get past it. They're not in healthy places. And so fight for it. I would do the joint custody for your daughter. I mean, I would just do it. Yeah.
Let me tell you real quick what the latest is though. So legally, I won my situation. I got visitation rights, or at least we had legal visitation rights before COVID.
Okay.
And so now we trying to morph back into some kind of regularity between co-parenting, whatever. But I don't see my daughter that much. And regardless of whatever me and my ex is going through, that's us as adults. We got to deal with that on our own, whether we rock with each other or we don't.
Mhm.
Right? I got my daughter last week for a day or two, and my daughter got a watch that makes phone calls. So my ex or whoever on her side got the watch for her. So I finally got the number to the watch. So I'm able to call my daughter, text her, whatever. She don't answer the phone that much. Maybe because, and she home, so she don't have to wear the watch. She's with her mom's. Maybe, I don't know. Can't speak for that. But it was allowing me to not have to call my ex's phone to talk to my daughter. When I got my daughter the other day, like I said, I don't see her often. She had the watch on, and so I was like, so she was sneaking upstairs to go call her mom's. So I said, yo, what you doing? She was like, nothing. And I said, but you going upstairs? We just about to start the movie. What you doing? Nothing. So I'm like, yo, baby, what's popping? And then she realizes, all right, I've been found out. Let me go downstairs and put the watch back in the bag. So she puts the watch back in the bag, and I'm like, yo, baby, why are you lying to me? Like, you don't gotta sneak away. Just talk to me. Tell me what's going on. So now she starts having an anxiety attack. So she goes back into the bag, puts the watch back on. I'm like, nah, as a matter of fact, you're gonna talk to me. Put the watch away. She's not listening. She putting the watch back on. I'm like, yo, baby girl, your dad is talking to you. Put the watch away. She wouldn't do it. So now she puts the watch on in defiance, runs in the bathroom, starts crying. And I don't know if she called her moms or whatever, but what I've deduced from that, because now I'm pissed, because now I'm thinking, oh, not only am I not getting to see my daughter, my ex is getting in her head.
Right.
My ex is getting, I don't know, yo, in front of my daughter, my ex is the most beautiful human being I met. Like, my daughter has no idea the disdain I got for that woman, right? Because I know my daughter loves her. That's her primary caregiver. So I get that part. I don't try to step on that toe. But what my ex don't do, she don't be like, yo, you should call your dad tonight. Or you should say whatever. You should go see him. She ain't promoting that. She's so excited and so happy that she gets to keep her most of the time. So that when I try to come in and be like, yo, can I see my daughter? Can I even talk to her? Can I FaceTime her? None of that. Shuts it down. And so part of the reason why I'm even happy to be on this show, and I really hope she's watching, and I really hope anybody in her camp is watching, because a lot of people don't. Here's the thing. here's the thing about abuse, right?
Mm.
One, people always assume it's the dude that's doing it. Two, you hear that word, you always think it's physical. So they don't know. So to the world, she the sweetest person you ever met.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one of my homegirls, when she knew the whole story, my homegirl told me to my face, yo, your ex is a terrorist. Because I'm a dude, I'm a man. I ain't going out there with tears in my eyes letting everybody know what's really going on. But she was whack behind the doors. She was a real whack person. And so now she uses my daughter as leverage. All I want to do is be with my daughter, be in her life, take care of her. I give her more money as per our contract than I'm supposed to. There's a certain amount of money the court system said. I said, no, Your Honor, I'm willing to give more than that. That's how much, one, I want to take care of my daughter. And two, that's how much I don't want to be with her. I've been trying to bounce. So now I'm in a scenario where like my poor daughter, not at no fault of her own, she is now like, she just wants to be with her mom because she's not getting no encouraging co-parenting words about her dad. You know what I mean?
Listen,
Like, so to the point where like, I got to give her some time before I even call her right now because it's just whack. It's real whack.
Yeah.
let me say this, my brother. Let me say this to you, man, because as you was talking, man, I have a daughter. She's 15. That's all my kids is my heart. This one, that's my twin. But because of the separation, when I left from New York, she begged me. She's like, Daddy, please don't leave. By me leaving, regardless of what her mother was dealing with her, telling her in her ear, she lost something. The relationship was ripped. I did that too. I had to go back and apologize to this baby and say, I'm sorry, man. I didn't know. Because I hurt her by leaving the relationship.
True.
You know what I'm saying? That was a big deal. And I didn't think nothing of it. I felt it when she was holding so tight. And I was like, I gotta go because I gotta do better for you and your other brothers and sisters. So she was just like, Daddy, please. And when I left, the phone calls were getting shorter. It wasn't just the mother. I did that. I ripped that relationship. And I'm telling you, it's mending back now. And I thank God because hearing you talk, I'm saying, bro, you just got to stay on it and in it. She gonna love you. She gonna love you. But women, that emotional situation, and she's a child, man.
Well, family, check it out. The way my career is, the career that I chose, I easily could have been still in New York, where I'm from, right, or back in LA, where I moved to before I had a family, right? New York or LA would have been the prime spots for me to really jumpstart my career. Right. I'm staying in Florida because of that same scenario. You know what I mean? Like, can't nobody say I ain't trying my damnedest to make sure, however this turns out, I gave it my all. So I'm staying right here. I'm probably paying more rent than I should be paying because I got to be close, a 10, 15-minute drive. I'm not the first person my ex even calls if she got to go to work and she needs a babysitter. Right. I'm not the first person. I'm supposed to be first right of refusal.
Let me ask you this, Gene. Have you ever had a conversation with your ex-wife and just said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for what I did. I hurt you.
I will show you. Well, this is all going to be in the book because eventually I'm going to have the balls to put my real life story out there. And the only reason why I haven't yet is because it's going to knock a lot of people off their pedestal, not just my ex-wife, people I worked with, my career. It's going to be, people going to be exposed to how whack they were in my life. The catch was I let them be whack. So, you know, it ain't right now. I'm trying to figure out how to put my life on on display, but without seeming like I'm trying to knock people down, because that's not what I'm doing. I don't care about y'all no more. I let y'all whack people in my life. That was on me. I'm gonna take that. But I gotta find a better way to tell my story. But what I don't want to do is just not have my daughter know that I gave everything. Like, and my daughter's only 8, so I gotta walk easy. You know what I'm saying? Like I know that how she feels about her mother in that situation. I gotta walk
So
easy.
the answer is yes, you have apologized to the wife.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot what you even asked me. Damn, I sound like a politician right now. I forgot the question.
Have you ever just said,
I
I'm sorry.
wrote a letter. I wrote a letter to my ex.
Okay, that's good.
I wrote a letter to my ex years ago, deeply apologizing for not necessarily what I did, because I knew what I did was whack, but I apologize for who I was more than anything. I apologize for who I sold myself to be to her. Maybe she either bought the sale or she already knew I was a whack dude at the time. I don't know. I can't speak for her, but I knew I was whack. Credit score was whack. I ain't have much bread, but I decided I'm gonna start chasing this dream. And then in doing so, I let women come into the picture, and they took me off my course of being a man of God, right? Of being an upstanding dude or an honest dude. Being able to tell somebody, "Yo, ma, this is how I get down," or "This is not how I get down." I wasn't doing that. So I wrote her a letter. Like I gave her everything, apologizing for real, for real. She didn't respond. I don't even know if she read it.
Mm.
I
What
don't know
if she never got it?
I gave it to her personally.
Okay.
Like no mailman, nobody, no nothing.
I'm
Ink
about
was
to say,
still
maybe she ain't
fresh.
even got it.
Ink was still fresh. I'm like, here in your hand, you've been served.
Let me ask you this question though. You wrote it, but ladies, y'all out here, I think, and I'm just saying, a letter to me, a letter goes a long way because I like the written word. I like the words. But there's nothing like the conviction of a heart when someone verbalizes it. So have you ever said it?
Okay, so in that beginning, you know, with that grace period, I did apologize, but maybe at that time it was too fresh. She didn't want to hear it, right? I did apologize to her, but since then we ain't have had this relationship where she and I, as adults, could talk about it because she's not the kind of person. She didn't talk about stuff. She didn't tell me a lot of things about who she really was. So much so that when we was dating, I'll never forget about this. When we was dating, we would go to restaurants and she knew that I love spicy food. So she used to be like, yeah, I love spicy food too. I'm like, get out of here. Now we bond. I'm like, yo, you like spicy food too? So we would go to restaurants and without blinking, yeah, make ours hot. We good, right? We good? Yeah, we good. Soon as we got married, when I tell you everything came mild, I'm like, yo, homie, you lied about spice.
Homie,
you know what I'm saying? Like who I found out her to be was not what I was sold, what I was told. So,
and what I'm saying is, I know a mom at the root of it all. A mom, she'll do anything for her child, and a mom always wants a dad because women, we believed in the whole family, the whole picket fence, black, white family, child, all of that shit, all of that. And okay, the illusion might have been broke for her, but at the end of the day, the women that I know, they'll give all that child support back just to have a father. And this is the part that I hate. It's like when you have, now sometimes it's reverse psychology too, because a woman knows the kind of man she has. She knows when she has a good man who will do any and everything for their children. And so they can use that against them. And women also know when they got a piece of shit that don't give a shit about their kids. And then every time you turn around, why don't you just come get your kids? You need to come get your damn kids. Like, so it's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't. So I would just, I applaud all the good men out there who have been doing all that they can to be a good father and a role model and never stop. Because at the end of the day, that little girl, she's going to have to see her mom, because the only thing her mom is she's still holding on to some stuff.
Right.
And I don't know who she is or what I know her, and I just pray. I pray that if you are watching, do look beyond yourself. This is your daughter. Your daughter need a father. It is already enough fatherless children out here. These girls coming out here with some, trying to be all because they don't have a man telling them that they're beautiful. And don't take that from your daughter. I don't care what you got with this man right here. Y'all gonna have to find a way to get it right, but don't rob your daughter of an opportunity to know one of the greatest men that I've ever known. Because I mean, not only did you bring me joy in my life, but laughter does the body good like medicine. And the only thing I can say is God has blessed me with just awesome, hilarious people in my life that has kept me smiling and laughing in the darkest days of my life. So I say thank you, Jean, for being who you are. And your daughter will know you to be the awesome man that you are, just as Anthony's daughters and sons have grown to know him to be an awesome man of God, just like Glenn's children know. So, you know, I think I done drank too much. I think I done drank too much. So listen, I mean, we're out of time. It's like we're past time, actually. It's 8:07. And I just want to thank you, Jean. I didn't really know to the details, you know, all of the stuff that was transpiring. So thank you for sharing. I asked everybody, you know, when we, you know, get this animation finally released. Anybody know an animator? Why we can't get an animator for the love? I can't find an animator. Like animators are like the
You
hottest.
probably can't find an animator within your budget. Say that.
Oh, shut up. Right. I got $10.
They out there.
Yeah, I ain't got Disney. I ain't got Disney money. You stupid. You stupid. You was like, say that. Yeah, animation is like $100
right.
a minute. A minute.
Wow.
And that's on the low end. And I got that. I figured, I was like, all right, you know, you would pay like 10 G's. We got that. We could do that. That I can't do more than that.
Right.
And so, you know, and that's like a big step up from South Park. That's not even like South Park shit. That's some old bobblehead.
You tried to look on Fiverr.com?
Yeah, I did go to Fiverr for the first. I did go to Fiverr, and they were from Africa.
Oh.
And what? Don't shake your. That's your native land.
I know, and I know exactly what you're working with right now. So, because they got me too. Somebody found me on Instagram, like, yo, I'm an illustrator. So I'm like, all right, how much? He tried to charge me something crazy. I'm like, your money. I don't need that much. I ain't paying that much for a cartoon of me. And I finally wired him some money. He drew a little cartoon. And I'm like, all right, you got me, Nigeria.
He was from Nigeria. Is it the same guy? Oh gosh. He was from Nigeria, but I mean, he gave me my money back. He actually said he couldn't do it. He was like, this is above what I can do. I could do a minute. I said, well, if you could do 1 minute, just do 90 minutes, do 91 minutes.
Yo, see if you go look for look for schools that teach animation, and then go get the young kids out of there that will probably do it for half, if not a fraction of what they're supposed to charge. One, to get their practice on. Two, you know what I mean? But like, look up art and film industry or animation colleges, and then get those dudes.
Somebody's teaching that stuff. And I know it's a lot down there because of Disney. I know it's a lot down there.
Yeah. But it could be anywhere. You can find somebody, get one of these young kids that will do it for the low.
Listen, I have done I got 2 girls, they got Asperger's and they bomb. But they was like, it's gonna take 5 months for like 2 minutes. I was like, God damn.
Right.
This should take 5 years. I was
but let's not be discouraged. I mean, a lot of people made greater things for less. So
true.
The powers that be, like, just stay on course. It's gonna find a way to crack open. We're gonna get it done.
True. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, Glenn. Yeah, it was robust tonight. Thank you. So everybody, don't forget, go to our YouTube channel, subscribe. Jean, can you please share the YouTube channel with your network? We can't go live until we can go to 100 subscribers.
And you need to like our YouTube page, please.
Well, maybe can you put the link in there?
The link is in the comments. I will personally send you the link, Jean.
Okay. I thought I subscribed already, but I'm on it.
Did you? Okay.
You did. You probably did. You can't subscribe twice, I guess. All right, you guys. Thank you guys for joining the Canada Podcast Show. We are here to move 1 million moms off the welfare system, and you can't.
It was a good show today, guys.
It
was like
was.
you said, robust, full of energy. We love you, Gene. You know, we go
Yeah.
way back. I
Right.
appreciate you taking the time to come on because I know you're busy. And do you have so please, Raquel may not have done such a great job introducing you. Can you tell us about any projects, anything you're working on? What do you got? My show's coming up. Tell us.
If you could go on GeneHardingNow.com, GENE Harding as in Tanya, GeneHardingNow.com, and you can find out where I'm at, where I'm going to be. You know, so right now I'm just, as the world is opening up, I'm trying to build the tour dates, the resume. I just I did a movie with that I was in. Let me stop fronting like I did a movie. I got a small little part in the movie with Idris
You did a
Elba
movie.
that's coming out that's if they keep me in the joint. It's coming out this summer called The Harder They Fall. And you know, I'm still on the come up, man. Like I'm trying to build up my social media. Still trying to do things, but I got to stay on course because you know that negative energy is trying to have me deviate, and I just can't do it now. I'm too far in now. So y'all can find me on social media at Gene Harding.
Do you still have your podcast?
Nah, but thanks for bringing that up because I think I need to bring
I have listened to some of the episodes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you got like 9,000 followers.
Yeah, but that's nothing in the grand scheme of things.
Listen,
please, I got 2.
Is hilarious, guys. Hilarious.
He really is. But see, you know one of the things too, Gene, that I'm learning, that even with my little, I don't know how many followers we got.
Well,
even the people that got 10,000, they want more. And then 1 million, they want 3. 30 million, they want 50. You got a nice size following that, you know. So,
I don't doubt that. And I'm thankful for every single person that takes the time out to listen to me, that has me on a podcast, that rocks with me. I'm appreciative of all of that. And it's not like that ain't enough. So it's that I'm looking for more. We always looking for more, no matter what. Because every day we wake up, we trying to be better than yesterday. So that's all it is. If you had 100 followers, you just go for 101 tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Until the whole world opens up to what you're doing. That's all.
Oh yeah, we're working on it.
Okay, if you could give me Gene's address, or Gene, I want to see a copy of my book. Okay.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So just give it to me, and I'll see. Actually, I'll see you both copies of the book. But
that'd be dope.
This is my co-parenting. It's called "When Love Is Not Enough: The Breaking of Life."
Okay. I would love to read it.
Yes, I'll send it to you. Good meeting you, man.
Nice meeting you too, man. I appreciate y'all.
Yes.
Thank you, Gene. And we'll have you back once we have, more of the, cast, but we was just like, let's get Gene on. So thank you, Gene, for spending the time. Thank you guys. And, definitely.
Thank all of y'all for your time, man. Everybody here, thank y'all for your time. We all busy, so
that's
what
right.
I mean? Thank y'all.
So we're gonna make this thing do what it do.
Right.
All right, you guys. Go ahead. What?
Right. Okay.
See you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.